Okay, welcome. We'll go into executive session due to spacing. I'm probably some talking. I'm going to take off my mask now, and I would invite my vice chair to do the same. I will also say on the phone right now is Supervisor Gallardo, Supervisor Chukri, and Supervisor Gates. So thanks for joining us directly after our executive session. I'm going to start this session off on item number 2, which is an action related to executive session directive. I've asked Ms. Marcy Flanagan and Dr. Rebecca Sonnenschein to join us today as we had the ability to talk, find out what's been going on in this environment. It's an awfully, incredibly changing environment. Getting some feedback right now. Okay, maybe I'll talk lower. First of all, I will also ask just to verify if Supervisor Chukri, you are present. Will he be able to talk to us? Well, I'll ask Supervisor Gates.
I am here, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Gates. Supervisor Gallardo.
I am here, Mr. Chairman.
Great, thank you. And Supervisor Chukri. Does it show that Supervisor Chukri's on the phone?
He's on. It shows he has a mic.
Oh, he might not have a mic. It shows he has a mic. Supervisor Chukri, do you have us muted by chance? Heard something just click. Supervisor Chukri?
I have confirmed that Supervisor Chukri can hear us.
Okay, well, when Supervisor Chukri can chime in, I'm sure if he's listening to us, I'm sure we'll figure out how he can talk to us. So I'm going to go ahead and get started then with Dr. Sonnenschein, if you'd like to come and talk to us about why we are gathered here today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You bet. Yeah, please.
Thank you for having us. On behalf of Maricopa County Department of Public Health, I want to first acknowledge that we've all seen the rapid rise in COVID-19 in Maricopa County, with over 2,000 cases reported just in the last 24 hours. There have been numerous scientific studies now that have shown that community-wide wearing of cloth masks is the most effective and our best chance at decreasing the rapid rise in community spread in Maricopa County. It's also our best chance at keeping our healthcare system from becoming completely overwhelmed and allowing it to provide the best possible care that we can for all of our residents. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to our Maricopa County Department of Public Health Executive Director and Health Officer to provide public health's recommendation.
Great, thank you. Good evening, Marcy.
Good evening. Chairman and members of the board, thank you for having us here this evening. I want to start off by saying thank you to the board for all of their support they have given us since our very first case at the end of January, and also a thank you to all of the members of Maricopa County who have been great in helping us slow the spread and doing their part. I think today is just another ask of public health for an extension for all of us to come together to help slow the spread in our community. So with that, Maricopa County Department of Public Health is asking the Board of Supervisors to consider implementing regulations that would require face coverings in all of incorporated and unincorporated Maricopa County.
Thank you. Okay, we've been talking a lot lately, so I'm not quite sure if I need to go over to Jack for a moment, or if I need to have a resolution read, or a proclamation read, I believe.
Mr. Chairman, if I might simply read
the cliff notes of this,
Okay.
and then the entire document will be put online.
Okay.
What is before the board at this point is a document entitled Regulations Requiring Face Coverings in Maricopa County. The whereases include, whereas Maricopa County has authority to promulgate county-wide regulations to mitigate the spread of infectious disease for the protection and preservation of public health pursuant to ARS 26307 and consistent with Maricopa County Health Department v. Harmon, 156 Arizona 161, 1987. Now therefore it is hereby ordered that as a result of the aforementioned conditions, it is the policy of Maricopa County that all persons within Maricopa County shall wear face coverings in compliance with the following regulations. The following regulations include a section on definitions, the use of face coverings, categorical exemptions to this, territorial applicability, enforcement, and severability. After all of those are considered, it is further proclaimed that Maricopa County encourages cities and towns in Maricopa County to adopt regulations at least as restrictive as these regulations, and it is further proclaimed and ordered that these regulations shall remain in place until further notice of repeal or revision by the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors. If considered, this will be adopted by the Board of Supervisors, Maricopa County, Arizona, this 19th day of June, 2020.
Great, thank you. Before I look towards a motion, I just want to check again. Supervisor Chukri, are you on the phone?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I understand that Mr. Chukri is able to hear us. He's trying to work on the ability to speak.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead, Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like, if it's okay with you, I'd like to just make a few comments as we await Mr. Shukri's connection.
Okay, Steve, hold on one second. We're getting some weird feedback. Let me turn off a microphone. I think that's what's happening. Let's try that again. Go ahead.
What I'm hoping to do is just make a few comments as we wait for Mr. Shukri to get on the line, if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do want to first thank our public health experts for really helping and working with us to really put together a solid policy here that I think is going to be proposed. Dr. Sunshine and Marcy have just been great health experts that have really worked tirelessly over the last, particularly the last probably 3-4 months now on this whole pandemic. They have just done stellar work there in our public health and really helping us not only guide us as supervisors, but working in communities and municipalities and really trying to provide the public health needs that are being put out there now. So I want to thank them. Also want to thank our legal team. We have a great legal team, Tom, Emily, Joe. They have worked great over the last 48 hours helping kind of clear up some of the statutory, requirements that we have, and making sure that we also have a good sound peace policy in front of us. But with all that said, I think this is really some trying times, not only in Maricopa County, this entire state and this country. We're faced with a pandemic where we're seeing the rise of new cases, and it's upon us to really step up and do something to help address the rising number of new cases. I think public health is on the forefront, or one of the first and important things we do as the Board of Supervisors. And I think we are on the verge of doing that. I think with the help of our experts and our attorneys and our sheriff's office, and of course our colleagues here, my fellow colleagues here, I think we're headed in the right direction. The resolution that was, or the regulation that was read by our clerk really shows that we are taking this really seriously. We want to be able to protect our community. We want to be able to protect the people of Maricopa County. We're not doing this to be meaningful. We're doing this for the sake of public health, and that's the important thing. So I look forward to the motion, and I look forward to continuing to work to make sure that our community is safe and healthy, and we get through this together. So with that, I will wait for the motion.
Thank you, Steve. Great comments. I appreciate them very much, and I know the staff here does too, because I can see with their tired eyes all the way around. This has been a rough go, especially for the last couple days. I'm going to try again. Steve Chukri, were you able to now be able to talk to us? And if you have any questions or comments.
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Perfect. Thank you.
All right. There we go. I only caught part of Mr. Gallardo's comments, but the part I did catch, I certainly agree with. And as we've all discussed, and some of my colleagues have so eloquently said, that this is a part of what we do. Public health is part of what the command is. And I chose that word deliberately, of what we have when we took an oath of office. And there's nothing easy about this. As we've all discussed the past many weeks, that COVID-19 treats its friends and enemies the same. It eviscerates both. So this is something that unfortunately has to be done. It's been said before that Arizonans, Maricopa County residents have risen to the occasion, and we're asking that now. We're asking that through the policy that we are going to set forth, and we all look forward to a day when we can be beyond this and heal and move forward. So I thank all parties involved, especially our health experts, Dr. Sonnenschein, Marcy, our legal team, who has been brilliant, is always brilliant, but extremely brilliant the past 48 hours in really pulling all this together.
Right. Thank you, Steve. Supervisor Gates.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Would certainly echo all the comments of Supervisor Gallardo and Supervisor Chukri. You know, this board is not taking this lightly. This is a significant decision. This is a once in a century type of situation. So for those who would suggest that we're taking this lightly, or that this is something that we enjoy or want to do, it is not. We are only doing this, at least for me, I'll speak for me, I'm only here being supportive of what we're going to do here today, presumably, because this is an absolute crisis. The residents of Maricopa County have to understand what our public health professionals are telling us, and they are the best. They are experts, and they're telling us that they need this, that our community needs this. One of the reasons that we need this is because we do not want to go back to a stay-at-home order. This county cannot handle it. Our economy cannot handle it. But we also do not want our hospitals to be overwhelmed. So therefore, we are faced with this choice, which is to ask our residents to be our partner in this effort and to wear masks in public. This isn't forever, but this is until we can get through this. I want to thank everyone in Maricopa County. I am so proud to be a part of this organization. And everyone here on this board is doing what we're doing today for the right reasons. And finally, Mr. Chair, you are in a very difficult position. And I thank you for the leadership that you have shown on this issue. And thank you for allowing us to have an excellent, thorough discussion of what the right path forward is. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for the kind words, Bill. I know you guys have been working hard too. in all of our districts, talking to a lot of people, and you especially. So I appreciate your hard work, all of your hard work with this, and your staff. Jack.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I just want to reiterate all the comments that have been made by the other supervisors. What an amazing staff we have in our medical group and in our attorney group. You know, I think the fact that we're here after 6 o'clock on Friday night speaks to the urgency of this situation. We're taking this very seriously. We want to do it right. And with that, I'm going to make a motion.
You know, Jack, before you make a motion, can I ask a question
Certainly.
first before? And a quick statement. First of all, I want to ask a question. I'm sorry. I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot, Marcy, because this world is changing awfully fast, and there's other city. I know that there's other cities about to take votes, and towns about this issue. I know that some already have. As we are talking to all of our staff and legal and everything else about what is going on out there, I started to see some information come in from cities in Maricopa County already taking votes or policy decisions, proclamations, resolutions. And there has been some cities that have decided to continue to stay voluntary. I'd love to stay voluntary about this. You know, many times people talk about the overstep of government, or is this the first start? It's a nanny state. And my ears ring about that, about how I looked at seat belts so many years ago, and the discussions that were had. And at this point, everyone understands their safety devices, and I don't know of anybody now that makes a political statement of not wearing your seatbelt. And least of all, they never make that statement, and they don't use when they have kids in their back seat. And it's because they're protecting their kids. This is the way I look at this, of what we are doing today. I don't want this to last forever. I don't think that this mask is some people might, but it's a piece of cloth that represents sickness in our community and what I have to do to protect the community. So I want to ask you point blank, I'm seeing cities deciding to not be strong in this area. What's at risk when we are not asking for mask use right now?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The reality of what's at risk are more lives lost of Maricopa County residents. If we have certain cities and areas of Maricopa County that are not going to require masks and it's going to be voluntary, I believe we would have some good players in those areas that would choose to wear masks to protect our entire community, and others that may not. And when everybody is not in this together and protecting our community as a whole, the spread is going to continue. And just as you mentioned, the seatbelts protecting our most vulnerable children in car seats, I think of these masks as protecting our most vulnerable as well. When we think of our grandparents, our parents, that even siblings that could be in those high-risk categories, we're doing this for all of them and for all of the individuals that think that they may have mild to no illness or asymptomatic. This can hit anyone, even a healthy individual, very hard. So this is just one of those measures that none of us like to put rules and regulations on individuals. We all want to have our free will and do the right thing. I think this is just ensuring that as a community, we are all being protected and setting the example of how serious this is and how much we need this effort moving forward.
Great, thank you. And corresponding to that, I'm a firm believer. Thank you, Marcy. I'm a firm believer in local control. You know, I believe that the governor has given us this mandate to really look at it for our individual communities. I was more prepared to vote for going towards my thoughts on unincorporated area. We are the government of unincorporated area, and I also recognize I have two large cities, Sun City and Sun City West, filled by their own age restriction and overlays. They are all in the most susceptible age group of what this is doing, this pandemic is doing. So I view that this is my obligation to do what I can to protect that community, or those very large communities. So with that, thank you guys for all your work, all the staff that's working here. Jack touched on it. We're now at 6:15 and we've been talking for hours, and thank you, my colleagues, for taking your day and days, not just 4 hours on a Friday, but it's been hours on Sundays talking about this and listening to our public health staff and trying to protect the very vulnerable in our community. So with that, I am looking for a motion.
And not to correct you, Mr. Chairman, but it's now 5 hours.
Today,
yeah. And thank you so much, Marcy, for bringing the rest of that information to us. I think that's really critical for people to understand, and thank you, Chairman, for your points. So with that, I move that we adopt and publish a proclamation requiring face coverings in Maricopa County pursuant to our authority under ARS 26-307, and that it become operational when filed of record at the clerk of the board.
thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And that concludes the work for today. Appreciate it. Everybody go home, be safe, enjoy your weekend. Happy Father's Day. And we are adjourned.